Yo, what up? Welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Thursday, the 9th of October, 2014, and I'm your host, Ant-Man. See, I like to have this thing ready. For some reason, I've been lazy today, and I didn't change it. Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyways, I got an article in front of me. Sorry, I'm so far so good on this channel, on this video. I got an article in front of me from the clashdaily.com with Doug Giles, and it was this was posted yesterday. I remember when I got this in the mail, I wanted to read it right away. I thought it was like, wow. I mean, I'm having a very hard time even, and I'm not kidding either, I'm having a really hard time believing this story because of I haven't even read it yet, I just see the headline here. In Obama land, says Doug Giles, an illegal can kill 2 kids and hit and run and avoid deportation and prison. Sounds really ridiculous, but let's get into this. An illegal immigrant who killed 2 children in a hit and run accident is not only avoiding deportation from the United States, she won't receive any prison time at all. Yet if you get pulled over with no probable cause, with no real reason for the cops to pull you over besides just mere suspicion, they have the right to search you, ask you for ID, put you in prison for stupid things like weed and other non-violent crimes. And yes, it is stupid to put people in prison for weed. Come on, you guys. Think about it. Are you so programmed to hate something that naturally grows out of the ground because the government called it marijuana and made it illegal, and that you follow it so blindly to think it's such a criminal thing and that it should be punished so severely? Let me remind you that your taxpayer dollars go toward keeping people in prison for stupid things like that. Let me remind you that the prisons are so full of people that have nothing to do with gangbanging or violence, and I have been in jail before. I was in prison once for evading court and whatnot, and I had an outstanding warrant, and I was tired of running, so I turned myself in, and I did some time, and I'm okay with that. I was dumb when I was when I was younger, I wasn't saved and I was stupid. Let's just put it that way. But I was young, and that was my excuse. I was just a kid. You have to learn from your mistakes eventually. You have to start doing things the right way. I don't make any excuses for it, and I'm not perfect either, so I'm not ashamed. Because God had his hand on me very strongly in prison, and I was literally untouchable, and that's another story. But let me remind you that it is wrong what we do in this country when we put people in prison for stupid things, but we don't want to give people punishment for stuff like this. It's totally irresponsible, you guys. And who does it hurt? Your wallet, my wallet. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what do you think? Where does the money come for to support these people to be alive in jail? Where does that support come from? It comes from you. Cynthia Garcia Cisneros, an illegal immigrant, recently had her immigration case dismissed despite the fact that she was convicted of 2 felonies for a hit and run that resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 young girls. She probably did it on purpose. No. She probably did it on accident, but she's such a terrible driver and unaccountable that she ran away. And well, you know what I mean? I think that with the illegal immigrants, man, my family came from El Salvador, but they did it the right way, and I admire my grandfather because he was one of the most manly men I could think of in my family that have ever given us a good example to follow behind. Hardworking, tough as nails, nobody could get in his way for whatever he wanted to achieve. A lot of crazy stuff happened with him, writing to the president of the United States when he got assassinated, and because of that we got investigated, because they found my grandfather's letter on JFK's, on his desk. So they had investigators, but he was just asking for permission to get over here. When it comes to the illegal immigrants, I say that if we want them to come over here, if we allow them to come over here for free, and just totally, go against our laws and whatnot, at least let's teach them about what this country was made, how it was made great. At least let's teach them the Bible, so that they're not running around in our country like it's Mexico and treating our country like it's Mexico. Because guess what, guys? It's going to turn into Mexico if we let Mexicans come in here and treat it like it's Mexico. And I'm not being racist. I'm just being real. They have a different culture. You want to teach them how to adapt into our culture if you want to let them in here, right? This is the kind of stuff that goes on in Mexico and countries where there's no police and everyone's corrupt and unaccountability. I've been in El Salvador, dude. You can get away with murder there pretty easily. Pretty easily, man. There's no shame in it at all. On top of the fact that her case was dismissed, blah, 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 although the reason for dismissal and the judge's name would have not been released, Garcia Cisneros received no prison time for her conviction and an example of how the immigration laws in the U.S. can often protect illegal immigrants more than legal U.S. citizens, according to Laura Ingram. Yeah, our government will help illegal immigrants more than they'll help its own people, for sure. Garcia Cisneros was allowed to be in the U.S. in the first place because of a 2012 executive order from President Obama that allows illegal immigrants who were brought to the country as children to stay. To stand up for my fellow Hispanics that probably get a lot of, you probably get a lot of heat for speaking up against immigration and against amnesty. I'm there with you, bro. And the people that are going to come against you are ignorant. They're emotionally attached to their culture and their people without having a good cause for them to come over here. They think that that the government actually cares about you and that they're going to handle this situation properly. And they're at the whole, the general public has become insane because they're completely putting their trust in known liars these days to give them information about our country and how it's doing today. Go watch MSNBC and you won't hear anything about open borders. Go watch CNN and you're not going to hear anything about, the reasons for the Ferguson shootings or whatever shootings are going on right now. It's never about the actual situation at hand. It's always about some type of, you always come out with race hustlers changing the subject or something, right? Go watch some of the mainstream media news and see that they have no interest in real issues that are affecting us today. They're keeping you distracted by giving you information about celebrities and whatnot. But if you stay on track with this immigration or amnesty issue, you'll see that this has huge implications. This has the border being open and the Ebola thing going on. It goes hand in hand. And if you've been ever informed about what martial law is, this is a perfect opportunity for someone to start martial law. Because if in South America they're starting to, or in Central America, starting to come out with cases of Ebola, that is going to, what? If people with Ebola are going to be getting caught coming into the U.S.? I guess it doesn't matter to our president. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter to the general public because if you try to tell them and warn them about these things, well, then you're just hateful. And that's always the narrative, isn't it? That you're hateful for being informed and telling people how to protect themselves. And like I said, dude, I'm from Central America. I'm a first generation American that was brought from El Salvador. Thank God I wasn't raised in El Salvador. But you know what? I have to say it how it is. I'm an American. I'm a patriot, I guess. I love my country. I love what this country stands for. I think it's a miracle what this country is and stands for. Whether it's been hijacked by atheists and secular humanists and whatnot that want to rewrite history, it doesn't matter to me. I know the truth, so it is well with my soul. But get informed before you ignorantly open your mouth and say someone's hateful for pointing out real issues. The government's going to use these Hispanics for their ignorance. They're only bringing them over here to get Democratic votes, to get them government dependent, to get them to collapse our economy. And if you don't believe that, you're dumber than a bag of hammers, and I would be surprised if you could chew bubblegum and put one foot in front of the other at the same time. And really, though, how dumb is that? Like, this isn't a hate issue, people. It's a security issue. It has something to do with our security as a country. We have to protect ourselves from viruses that are deadly, from people who want to come in and fundamentally change our society and culture from the inside out. And we want to protect people from our corrupt government to be used as victims and useless and useful idiots, in the words of Joseph Stalin, to get that agenda that they want through so badly. Because what they're going to do is they're going to teach them to hate Americans when they come over. Why don't we teach them to love God when they come over here? So that they can, just like how God used the Gentiles to bring the Jews to like jealousy, to get them to be more in line with what's going on today, how today's the day of salvation, and that, you know what I mean? We should use the Mexicans to bring the Americans into jealousy, because we should make the Mexicans more proud to be American than the Americans are, and use them to preach the gospel. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I think a lot of Americans would probably be brought to jealousy and be wanting to get on the bandwagon harder if we teach the illegal immigrants that. That's the only positive way to deal with this situation, right? Got to remember, they're human beings, man. They're not the people we hate. It's the government that are using their ignorance to get through with their Agenda 21, hating on humanity type of stuff that they're trying to get through ignorance and fear, boogeymen, and just be dumb and watch MTV, you guys, and don't worry about this kind of stuff. Anyways, God bless you. I love you, you guys. You guys have no idea. If I didn't love you, I would not put up these videos, and I would laugh at your ignorance every day. But instead, I understand my own ignorance and weakness and my own need for God, and I know that my duty here is to watch and to make sure that, when I get to heaven, it's going to be, well done, good and faithful servant, not depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I never knew you. Whose side are you on? There is no fence. God bless you. And there's no border either. Not a good joke.